To begin the install, you'll need to cut out the subfloor to recess the drain. To do this, you take out the bolt-in portion of the drain. Then set the drain base over the drain pipe, center it up over the pipe, and mark around the drain base. Put the bolt-in portion back in the drain base and tighten the bolts. Next, drill a pilot hole for the saw blade to start in. Then, cut the subfloor around the line. After the hole is cut, mark the drain pipe at the floor level. The pipe should be cut 1 7/8 to 2 inches below the floor level. After the pipe is cut, install the base of the drain with the factory recommended adhesive. The tabs on the drain should fit down flush on the floor. Put a screw in each tab to secure the drain. Next, test fit the pan to make sure everything lines up and fits correctly. Mark the open edge of the pan so you have a reference point for applying your thinset. Remove the pan. You are now ready to apply thinset to set the pan in place. A 3/8 or 1/2 inch notch trowel should be used to spread the thinset. 3/8 inch if the floor is level, 1/2 inch if the floor is not level. Smaller than a 3/8 inch notch trowel should not be used. Thinset should be applied to within 1/2 inch or less from the walls and drain, and all the way to the curb edge. The pan must make contact with the thinset on the entire bottom of the pan. This is what gives it its strength. Once the thinset is spread, apply a liberal amount of 100% silicone or polyurethane caulk around the top edge of the drain base. Next, apply a large bead around the groove around the drain hole in the bottom of the pan. You are now ready to set the pan in place. To make it easier to get some larger pans in place, 3/4 by 3/4 inch or 1 1/2 by 1 1/2 strips of wood can be laid on the floor with no thinset under them to lay the pan on until you get it lined up. Then pull the strips of wood out. The gap left in the thinset is not large enough to matter. Push the pan to the back wall and set her up between the other walls, making sure the drain lines up with the opening in the pan. Wiggle the pan back and forth a little while putting downward pressure to ensure the thinset spreads out evenly under the pan. Check the pan to make sure it's level. If the pan is out of level, put downward pressure on the high side and wiggle it a little more. That should do the trick. Next, you want to install the adjustable portion of the drain by putting a liberal portion of 100% silicone or polyurethane caulk around the drain opening in the pan. Then, take the drain grate off the tailpieces of the drain to expose the tabs that the screws go into. Use these with your fingers to tighten the adjustable portion into place. The silicone does not have to be used if you want to be able to adjust the height after the pan is set. Just screw the adjustable piece down as tight as you can with your fingers, and do not remove until the thinset under the pan is dry. Then it can be adjusted. Once the tailpiece is in place, put the drain grate back in place. Clean any excess caulk from around the drain. To install the backer board, put a bead of 100% silicone caulk on top of the splash wall. Set the backer board down into the caulk and fasten to manufacturer's specifications. After the backer board is installed, wipe the excess caulk from around the pan and waterproof all seams and walls as you normally would. When laying tile on the pan, rapid set thinset must be used. Regular latex modified may not cure.